So good afternoon, Pak Petra. How are you?
Good, thank you.
All right. So before we continue our dialogue, we would like to ask for your permission, audience, we will take off our mask, so we will have more clear dialogue, and of course, avoiding some disinformation, right, Pak Petra?
That is true. That is true.
Yes, because of deep fake AI information using if we do not if we are using this one, it could be possible for the deep fake disinformation.
Oh, yeah. We want to make sure that all expressions are accounted for as it is meant. But Pak Petra, thank you so much for joining with us. And you know, digital transformation is helping to improve critical public services across the region and is highlighted in the upcoming G20 agenda. So we've seen how Indonesia has dealt with big data, specifically during the beginning of COVID vaccination arrival, and you know, the technology and innovation and new ways of doing things, right? Or is it a new way of doing things, or perhaps all of the above? How would you describe the digital transformation right here specifically in Indonesia?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us on the 3-hour news show. It's a real pleasure to be here. Your question around, you know, how do we see digital transformation? Is it actually something new? Actually, not really. It's just that there's more and more application and more use of digital technologies, and because of that, the use in changing the ways we work so that we can deliver services, we can make decisions, and we can connect with each other much more effectively. This is the process of what we call digital transformation, I think.
Interesting. And before we're moving to the next question, I have to admit that this is a very interesting topic, because I finished my study for math, and I took the master for digital media. It's so interesting, and we will talk about this later, the next issue or topic, when we talk about, we see your program is also helping the post-pandemic recovery economy particularly. So through the MSMES project, or UKM here in Indonesia, in Bahasa, what actually are Pulse Lab involvement and achievement?
Well, as you know, with the pandemic, it's really hit us hard in terms of the economy, and that's not just Indonesia, globally, right? So one of the backbones, or one of the major priorities of the government of Indonesia is to really boost the micro, small, and medium enterprises. So part of the things that we are doing with the government is helping in looking at how to better integrate the data, make it easier and more efficient for small and medium and micro entrepreneurs to register. But also, part of what we're doing is understanding what are the challenges of micro entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs, in actually adapting and adopting new technology. So sometimes you think just because all we need to do is provide access to the technology, and that's not always the case. You also have to understand different personas, different people, and how they interact, and how comfortable are they in adopting new technologies and new approaches.
Right, interesting, Kai. The term is adapting and adopting, yeah?
True.
That's two things not easy, actually.
No,
yeah?
it's not.
So maybe could you please elaborate a little bit more about maybe in terms of data, how many, like maybe in 1,000 or in million or SMS who respond to your program, and how's the achievement maybe in numbers as well?
Well, the estimated in Indonesia, there's more than 26 million micro and small enterprises that the government is trying to provide access to finance, access to infrastructure and other needs, so that we can really accelerate the growth of these enterprises. One of the things that we've been doing is actually in helping to understand these patterns. So in adopting is actually changing the way that you're doing something. Let's say before you were selling things physically and trying to send out maybe brochures, etc. And now you're adapting to use digital platform. We see with companies such as platforms such as Gojek and others have been incredible in allowing for people to change the way they do business. Now the adaptation part also is, so that's adopting, and then adapting, how do you improve on the use. One of the things we did was with FinTech platforms. So they, what we looked at was the last mile. What does it take for, okay, now that there's a digital FinTech platform, but why aren't micro-entrepreneurs actually accessing it? Yeah. And what we found in that last mile is that you actually still need human agents, trust, to build trust and to provide that last point of comfort and point of contact to be able to then adopt and utilize these digital platforms. So in one of our programs, the fintech company is using this approach. They gain more than 2,000 new users who otherwise would not be using the fintech platform, and more than $2 million worth of new loans. I mean, this is large when we're talking about micro entrepreneurs.
Oh, interesting.
That's certainly interesting, because you see the research is important, right? If we want to go through the digital transformation, we have to know what the specific end users need and what the providers can give them, and that bridge is specifically very, very important. Now, Pulse Lab Jakarta is established as the first innovation lab of its kind in Asia now in 2012, which is a decade ago. Now, a decade later, what have been some of your key contributions or key achievements, if you say, in the digital transformation space in Asia? And could you tell us a bit about the process, what it's like, who is involved, and the challenges and the success stories that you've had?
Sure. Well, one thing that we've been really grateful is that over the 10 years, we've built partnerships. So I mentioned Gojek, but we've also worked with other platforms such as Grab. We've worked with PT KAI. We've worked with various ministries, and not just in Indonesia. And so one of the things I think is actually about building the partnerships. A lot of the producers of big data are private sector corporations, right? And so there's constraints that they have in opening and sharing access to their data. So one of our accomplishments is actually in changing the way, so it's not about the opening up access to the data, but about sharing insights from their data. So we provide them with algorithms to be able to analyze the data, and then we use their insights. So some of the things that we've been able to produce, for instance, that's now operating at a global level is a vulnerability mapping. So it understands what are the anomalies in the climate because of climate change, and then be able to use that to predict vulnerability in food production. And that was trialed first in Indonesia, but now it's not become a global platform by the World Food Program, for instance.
That's great.
When will it be, the launch?
So it's already used now. So more of late, what we've been doing is working, for instance, with PT KAI, Kereta Api Indonesia, to help them understand the wealth of their data and use that to analyze, so they can see how many women are traveling alone at night, and so perhaps need more facilities. Also, elderly that can then better use subsidized travel allowances from the government, things like this. So yeah, there's just a lot of examples I think we could give, but yeah, it's been wonderful to see the sort of partnerships and openness to collaborate.
Yes. I mean, that's certainly great, because I think it takes away the shift from the traditional way of making policies to actually data-driven, evidence-based, and of course, I would say informed decision-making, if you say.
Yes.
You know, what I love when I read the lead of our dialogue today with the mixed method. This is what I call from qualitative side is rich and thick.
Yes.
Yes, because as you say, for the example from the data from PT KAI, how many women who travel alone at night. So it's very specific, and we need that data. Yeah. So it depends also to the kindness of open and sharing the information. Yeah. So my next question is, so Indonesia currently holds the G20 presidency. Right. So bringing together 20 of the world's major economies to the table for discussion, it's not an easy thing, Petra. So how might economies further leverage the issue of digital transformation to get to the next stage? And I think we need to elaborate more here. What does this mean for regional digital cooperation?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I mean, I'm working for the UN or in the UN, but I'm an Indonesian, so very proud of Indonesia taking on the presidency of G20, and actually presenting this theme of digital transformation of which Indonesia, including with Pulse Lab Jakarta, where Indonesia had the foresight 10 years ago to establish this sort of facility with the United Nations. Now, where we're going with this, I feel because so many countries are now shifting towards digital transformation, and it's necessary to be competitive, to be relevant, and to be able to, as you say, properly utilize evidence-based evidence for policy making. And so I think the opportunities, one is understanding also the biases, the dangers in the digital transformation, who is left behind, who is excluded from, like I was born in Papua, so a lot of us in Papua don't really have a digital footprint. So how do we include and make sure that the processes of digital transformation does not exclude and is also responsible in protecting the privacy of people's data that's being used? So there's a lot of aspects incorporating on that side, as well as because a lot of the producers of these global technologies are transnational, they're global corporations, and so there's efficiencies to be gained through through cooperation, regional cooperation, that can utilize same approaches or similar approaches across different countries and different contexts.
Yeah, it's certainly very interesting because a lot of policies, I think, will be blueprinted based on this particular conference and specifically in the digital transformation era. But let's go back a bit. We mentioned that it has been 10 years since the lab has been opened in operation, and you also mentioned that it was such a big move from the Indonesian government to work together with the UN to create this lab in the first place 10 years ago, not just now. But, you know, first and foremost, really congratulations on the dynamic that's been, you know, in the digital space. It's been particularly with the UN lab. What's next for the team?
Well, what's interesting is this is coinciding with the G20.
Yeah.
So Pulse Lab Jakarta operates under a global UN Global Pulse.
Yeah.
That's under the Executive Office of the Secretary General of the United Nations. And that actually came about from a conversation between our president at that time, President Bambang Susilo Yudhoyono, and the Secretary General of that time. So fast-tracked from and that was at a G20 in 2008. Now fast-track that to 2022 G20. What we're looking to project is actually utilizing the experience of the last 10 years to now expand a role to at Asia Pacific level. We're already doing activities or have been doing activities in different countries across Asia and Pacific, but we want to formalize that. So that's one of the things that we're really excited about progressing towards.
Just one last question, because I'm very curious. This is a very, you know, you can say this is a catalyst program that comes from Indonesia that is available for Asia. Do you think in the G20, your team will have a specific presentation in mind or be directly involved specifically in the digital transformation team? Because there is a working group. So I don't want to, what do you call it? Reveal too much?
Reveal. It's not, it also requires, of course, the deliberations of the working groups. Yeah. But I think I can say that we have proposed this as a concrete proposal that will be advanced in as one of the G20 agendas. And so that's under discussion in the development working group, which is led by Bappenas, and hopefully also by the digital transformation working group. So fingers crossed on this.
We will wait for that, yeah?
Yes.
Petra, we do hope we have much more time right now to talk more about this interesting topic. Unfortunately, we have not sufficient time for now, but thank you very much for your time, for coming here directly to the studio and talking about this.
And to the success also in the G20 and everything to the future. Hopefully, this particular lab that started in Indonesia will have more influence and impact to the Asia Pacific.
Success to you and the team here as well.
Yeah, thank you,
so
Petra.
much, Petra.